Viva Kosas, viva! Viva Sasko, viva! Long live the PYA, long live! Humande luti mahlome. Humande luti mahlome hlasela. Seyaya. Ose solo taihloma. Ose solo taihlome hlasela. Seyaya. Long live the undying spirit of Maokeng. Long live. Long live President Z.R. Mahabane. Long live. Amandla. Motsamaisi wa mosebetsi, the member of the PC, Comrade Khotso Sisele. Thank you very much. Let me acknowledge you as also the PC member of the ANC. Let me acknowledge the leadership of the region, the Deputy Chairperson, Comrade Troy Mukatsane, the ANC Regional Deputy Chair. Let me acknowledge the convener of the ANC Women's League who's here. Let me acknowledge the regional leadership of the ANC Youth League under the stewardship of Comrade Edgar and others. Let me acknowledge the members of our alliance leadership and acknowledge, I've seen the Mahabane families here. Let me acknowledge them. Let me acknowledge, but really mona kabona, our heroes, our activists. Panimbai Tsweri, how letata, Panimbai Tsweri, how fashionable. Let me acknowledge you. Let me acknowledge Kibone Banabaskolo, Kosa City Mona. Let me acknowledge the leadership. Let me acknowledge all of you, comrades. Kereto Baksaba Kinyeletsampunya, Kere protocol observed. La protocol observed, it means I've acknowledged you even if I've not mentioned you. But let me start also by passing a word of gratitude once more to the organizers of this activity, of this program, because it's a program that takes us down the memory lane. We meet at the time when the country is facing many, many challenges. The challenge of unemployment remains persistent for many, many years. We meet at the time when we have a crisis of electricity, a crisis that is a product of our own poor judgment as the African National Congress in government. Because when we're supposed to come with a plan for maintenance, we failed to do so. And for that poor judgment, we are paying the price. We meet at the time, comrades, when there is a general crisis of energy in the country. We meet at the time when, for some time, 2 years ago, the pandemic of COVID was ravaging the world and many lives were lost. We saw many people that we know dying because of the pandemic of COVID-19. We meet at the time when the challenge of water in our areas where we live, it is not just coming, it is here with us. So the point is that we're meeting at a time when we face many, many challenges in this country. And those challenges, as the ANC, we are presiding over those challenges. And some of these challenges are our own making. Some of those challenges are our own making because we failed to take decisions that could mitigate them for the future. Now, what that means is that we meet at the time when the ANC is waking up to say the clarion call is to undo every little mistake, serious mistake that we've made. We meet at the time when we just came from the national conference, the 55th national conference. A conference that also was marked by many divisions amongst us. A conference that was a Rubicon for the African National Congress. Because that conference has decided to do the unimaginable. To say we're not going to allow the divisions of the past to be the order of the day. A conference that has given marching orders to members of the ANC, that you, as members of the ANC, that power is in your hands to ensure that the African National Congress cannot collapse or die. So we've crossed that river. We've crossed that Rubicon. Now it is up to us. So this conference, we hope all of us will respect it by ensuring that the ANC survives. We meet at the time when the writing is on the wall that if we continue to play, we'll lose election. We don't have the luxury of being petty. We don't have the luxury of playing around. We meet today, comrades, because it is the 11th of February. And here in Maokeng, here in Kroonstad, we go down the memory lane of 1985 to remember what happened, but not only to remember, but to tap into the bravery, the courage of young people, the courage of activists of the African National Congress here, the courage to confront one of the worst situations in our country, which the United Nations called the evil against humanity, apartheid. Young people, activists of the ANC here in Maokeng, went all out to contribute to that struggle, to contribute to our revolution. Many of those carry heavy scars of that day. As the sun set on that day, many were being haunted, hounded by the police. Many were feeding the vampire with their blood, sacrificing their blood, feeding the vampire. A system that lived, that thrived on the blood of the African child. But they were feeding it with that sacrifice. Comrades, one of the things that we must learn to do next time when we gather like this, we must write our own history, so that we don't come around, gather here, and deal with our history in a casual way, anecdotally. A book must be produced for Maokeng Day. And who will produce that book? All of you. You must have people, that many people, Kroonstad has got many intellectuals, many academics. You must assign these activists to capture the memories of that day. But not only the memories of that day, but the whole historical journey of revolution of our struggle in this area of Kroonstad. Because 1985 was not the beginning. It was a continuation. It was a deepening, an advancement. Those who were there on that day of the 11th of February 1985, they were riding on shoulders of giants. It was not the beginning of struggle in this area. It was the deepening and the continuation of our revolution. So it is important, therefore, to treat, to honor that day in a manner that befits it. And one of those ways is to ensure that we write our own history. The history must be properly written. Because if you are unable to write it, you have no legacy. One thing about writing, writing creates legacy. What you have written, it will remain there for generations to come. That is why even when God gave Moses instructions on Arangol, write on the litapeng and so on. So part of what we have to do is to ensure that Rengole, our own history, so that tomorrow other people don't write it and distort it. And from time to time, we will be faced with the challenge of rectifying that history. So we need to write. If you are a COSAS member, make an effort to write about that history. A SASCO member, make an effort to write about that history. An ANC Youth League member, make an effort to write. ANC, Women's League, all of us, we must make an effort to write about that history, and we must have seminars, local seminars, to really capture that moment properly in our writing, through our writings, and through these videos and so on. The biggest problem that we have today, we are activists who are lazy to write. We are lazy. That is why some of us here were told lies about that day. Were told lies about that day. Some of the people who were not there, they claim that day. You can't falter them. The mistake is yours because you are lazy to write. Bala, masipaleni maqabane. Our own history. And one other way of honoring this day is to tap into that moment of, because this day, it's a moment of unity. The whole community gathered, came together to say, never, never again. So it's a moment of unity. So we've got to tap into that moment of unity, that forceful moment of the principle of unity, to say what has gone wrong, how best can we rectify it. Comrades, we cannot gather today and use this day to advance our factional interests. We can't. If we do so, the 11th of February is a moment of unity for the people of Maokeng. The moment that has inspired many of us who come from close by towns like Frederickford. It inspired us. So it cannot be, therefore, that this moment has got to be a facilitator, a catalyst of divisions, or no, we can't. This moment is a moment that reminds us of who we are when we work together, when we are united. In fact, comrades, it is a moment where every activist should be sitting here and telling us, no, Naga 12 o'clock, I was there on that day. I was here that day. This is what happened. Even if that person is a member of COPE, I'm happy that there are those who are no longer members of them, but they are here because they understand. Because they understand what it means to be part and parcel of a struggle. So we're reaping those benefits today of the sacrifices that they have made. So I hope next year, when we meet here again, we're not going to be talking, we'll be listening to comrades, or we'll be having 5 pages, or no, this is what we think about that day. Typewriter and all that. Because activists of the ANC must always gather to reflect on what they have achieved and how that history can marshal them forward. We must not be slaves of history. History helps you to learn lessons. History helps you to tap into its wisdom. You must learn lessons, look at your mistakes, and learn what has happened. Today it is the moment of renewal in the ANC. We are saying we want to renew the African National Congress. Foundational renewal, I've said it the other day. Foundation of renewal is unity. There is no way that we can talk renewal of the ANC and then we perpetuate our differences, our factions. There is no way. Then forget about renewal. The African National Congress, when it characterizes renewal, it says renewal is about resilience, enhancing resilience of the ANC. It is also about enhancing our capacity to govern, our capacity to transform our society, our ability to adapt to new conditions. Now this area, Maokeng, produced Z.R. Mahabane, who was also inspired by Charlotte Maokeng, and finally became the president of the ANC. And to acknowledge his contribution, when the moment was tough in the 30s, the ANC called him back to say, come and renew the ANC, because at that stage, the ANC had almost about 300 members throughout the country. It was dying. Mahabane and Kalata were called to duty to renew the African National Congress at that time. So the 11th of February calls us, connects us with renewal of the African National Congress. So Z.R. Mahabane is the father of renewal. There is no better way. There is no better way of celebrating Z.R. Mahabane, who comes from here. You know, there's no better way except striving for unity of our movement. Kopano ke matla. Re ka bua mehlolo ena kaofela. If we are divided, we're going nowhere. If we are divided, we are actually doing a disservice to President Mahabane. Re rohaka libitla la President Z.R. Mahabane. Ante re le busy ka di factions tsa rona. Do you know why we have all these many unresolved potholes? It is because we are divided. Do you know why? Do you know why we have this poor service delivery? It is because we are divided. Do you know why many of the services that we have to provide to our people, it is because we are divided? Do you know why the branches of the ANC are so weak? All they can do is to lament. All they can do is to accept money to be captured. It is because we are divided. Let us honor Reverend Mahabane, because Reverend President Mahabane and Kalata, when they renewed the ANC, they called it this, they undertook what is called the Silver Jubilee. And we must read his works. As a theologian, we must read the works of President Mahabane. One of the things that he advanced is the brotherhood of men. Once you talk about brotherhood, there can be no brotherhood without unity. Mahabane espoused what is called social holiness. Professor Kumalu wrote about President Mahabane, talks about social holiness. Their understanding as Methodists, their understanding as theologians was that in any country, as believers, as followers of Christ, there must be social holiness. When you are concerned about a child who's got no clothes, when you are concerned about a child who must get education, when you are concerned about all these social ills, then you are part and parcel of the brotherhood of men, which is about social holiness. So that's what Professor Kumalo from the University of KZN says. He teaches that about President Mahabane. So there can never be brotherhood that is premised on disunity, on hatred. They can never. It doesn't matter how many times you shout it. There can never be the brotherhood of men without unity. In fact, the notion of brotherhood itself speaks to unity. Comrades, like Kichilo earlier on, that if we mess up from now onwards, we must forget about 2024. Now, there are things that we have to do to get 2024 right. One of the things, we must own up to our mistakes. And how do you own up to your mistakes? You own up to your mistakes by doing work. By doing work. We must learn to embrace even the most hostile people. As long as they are activists of the ANC, we must learn to embrace that. And how do we embrace people? How do we build unity? It's by doing work. The African National Congress must embark on programs, because if we don't have programs, we don't entertain at all. And since then, every Wednesday, we do some work. First, we educate one another. There are no shortcuts in a revolution. Revolution is a science, there are no shortcuts. Skana now badile Karl Marx, badile Freedom Charter, but if we don't educate one another, we will never understand what this revolution is about. We started doing work there at a branch, because a member of the ANC joins at the branch level. Ward 14, today I know how many streets are in my ward. Today I know how many houses are in my street. Today I know how many people are divorcees in my street. I know how many lights are working, how many lights are not working. I know in my ward, Ward 14, Sakiranju, how many water tanks are there. I know in my street, but what's sugar diabetes, Babakai. I know what are the challenges of health, how many children are at high school in my street, let alone my ward. Because revolution is a science. The work we are doing, we are teaching one another to become true activists of this movement. And that is about working. Every Wednesday, we give people 7 days to go into his or her street, to go and check the conditions of those people. And we report on them. We don't talk Karl Marx. We don't talk history of the ANC, because you have information overload. Information yeah. We must do work. The starting point is for us to do the basics. And in the process, dialectical materialism, tools of analysis, etla fihlela mobung o nonne. We're doing that. And we believe the starting point is to work together and do the basics. Comrades, you can never engage yourself in a revolution without knowing the environment of people, the situation, the conditions under which people live. No, you can't. You can't. It doesn't matter rutelo lokai. That is why we started in our street. Everybody goes into his or her street. And that's what we must do. That's what we must do. And that's how we will build the ANC. So that those deployees who are in government, the mayors, the speakers, the councillors, they can be enriched by your understanding of the environment in your situation. That's how the ANC must enrich its own cadres who are deployed. Oscar, no, that thing, comrades, forget it. The ANC I beile motho mo, let's support that person. A faile re mo support. Re ska tlo ema ka pela motho be re no, wa failure. No, it doesn't work. We have been through a lot. Comrades, if we don't support a person that has been put there by the organization, then we don't understand the principle of democratic centralism. That principle of democratic centralism, wa ikwinya ile bohloko ise bohloko. And that is the nature of the Congress movement. Unfortunately, you see, comrades, we are elected in this position not because we are the brightest amongst you, but when a moment has pointed at you, you must be supported by the organization. I'm not here because I'm clever than everyone here. No. And the moment we begin to internalize that, that's when we begin to build a proper foundation. There is no way that we can build Fezile region and then we don't support one another. There is no way that we can build a ward committee and then we don't have, you see, one of the laws of leadership, comrades, maybe it's the law of the lead, LID. You can never be a leader, or you can never take people as a leader where you have never been. If you don't know unity yourself, you'll never take people that you are leading, your followers, to the world of unity. Because you don't even have a sense, a vision of it. So that is one of the laws of leadership. You must first taste it. You can never inspire people to renew the ANC when you yourself have not internalized unity or renewal. Leaders must be able to take people in the world that they have envisioned, the world that they aspire for, but they work towards that aspiration. And part and parcel of working to that world of unity, part and parcel of working towards that aspiration of a better life is for yourself to be better first. So, we need to work harder and smarter. And we need to forget what Pixlika Isaka Seme calls petty jealousies amongst ourselves. We need to leave that. Otherwise, we won't be able to build the ANC. So, hari ahane, really comrades. Hari khona ahana rona re di comrades a ANC. Re tla khona aha setjhaba. Ha rona re ahana pele. And ha ona motho a perfect. We're human beings, we're complex, we're complicated. So, unitary batlang comrades, aso re nna le wena, re dumellane ka ntho engwe le engwe. Mara unitary batlang gore ha re kene tshebetsong ya ANC, re be moya o le mong, re be le tshebelopele e le nngwe. Ela re bina Oliver Tambo bambisandla sam. It is not because I'm deeply in love with you. No, it is because I understand the importance of serving the people. It is because I understand that somewhere in Gelekwarts, somewhere in Dinohen, somewhere in Pumulong, there is an old lady who needs the ANC to be at her service. That's what, when we say Oliver Tambo Bambisane, it is because we understand that essence. It's not because we love each other. In fact, In fact, Che Guevara, when he talks about a revolutionary, he says, if you are a revolutionary, you must have love for your people. You can never be a revolutionary. You can't. So it is important. The issue of love is critical to build our unity. Cyril Ramaphosa, the president, says that unity must be principled. In other words, when you do wrong, I must be able to tell you and build you. And when you do right, I must be able to learn from you. It's principled. But what makes it more principled is that we must understand what is the task at hand. What is the task at hand? Our revolution is under threat. No, rona re butsi mamati ga tshwata defense tere batho ba kena. Now we want to blame people. Comrades, if we want to renew the African National Congress, we've got to work together. You see, Nelson Mandela says in one of his letters, consultative conference in Kwabe in the mid-80s, 1985 actually, he says, unity is the solid rock upon which the ANC was founded. Or unity is the solid rock, is the rock upon which the ANC was founded. There was nothing else. Foundational ANC key unity. Now we need to take this thing of unity seriously and reskanka literally. Because we human beings will always have differences, but we must master the art of sitting down and talking to one another. We must be able, as the ANC, to go to Comrade Twem Katsan as the deputy chair or as the mayor, to say we don't agree with this and that and that. There are these problems. We want to work together with you to resolve them. These are the solutions. In my branch, comrades, we organized 2 weeks ago a service delivery summit as the ANC. We called the unit manager. Some of the comrades don't like that unit manager. Said, no, come. And that unit manager, we said, no, come. We said, this is what we think. And we resolved the matter. How should we service people here? In our branch, we're in the presence of 25 churches. They were represented. 17 community organizations. They were represented. And we said, this is what we think. And do you know what is happening? Today, the unit manager even speaks to those people that he suspects, because it is about doing work. And it is work in progress. We have not achieved much, but it is work in progress. But it is important for comrades of the ANC to realize that the moment has come that we work together. We don't just lament and complain, we must provide solutions. And there are times when your views will not be accepted. Listen to other views. I like this word. When the ANC says renewal is about enhancing the ANC's resilience. Resilience in a dictionary meaning simply means toughness. So the ANC, in the context of renewing itself, it must enhance its toughness. The ANC is a tough organization, but its toughness is under attack now. The ANC survived many storms. The ANC survived many storms, comrades. In the 40s, in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s. And even now, the ANC will survive these many storms. But it takes each and every one of us. It takes each and every one of us to make the ANC tough. If we are not united, we are not enhancing the toughness of the ANC. Another dictionary says resilience means the ability to spring back into shape. How it's a phoso go tla fast jwang, that's agility. It's ka ra etsa phoso o tla dula o mouna ka phoso eno ho fihlela so sa tsebe gore o so tshwana le mistake wo. The ANC has always had the ability to spring back into shape. Comrades, the ANC is shapeless now. We must spring back into shape. How to the ANC is shapeless? It simply means we're factional, we're ill-disciplined. We think politics ko rwaka batho. We think politics is to be disrespectful. We are the African National Congress. We are the African National Congress. And one of the philosophies that inspires our Africanness is Ubuntu. Kibutu. That is why we're different from China, for instance. You see, in China, their philosophy, when they see the state as the father. There is a concept of guardianship. So the state is the father. It must have the ability to serve kintate. But when it comes to leadership in South Africa, in Africa, we see leaders as servants of the people. So we are inspired by different philosophies. And this philosophy of Ubuntu says to us we must be able to humble ourselves and must be able to work together. Thank you very much.
Central TV.